about that. This is not some newbie, right? Let them know. Y'all hear that New
Yes.
York in her voice, though? Can you hear it?
It's there. It's
Yeah.
there. You know it. You had listen. Shout out to Jamaica Queens. You know, a queen raised by in Queens. But no. So you're probably referring to my role as Rosie in Fresh. I
Okay.
did that role.
Everybody knows the
Yeah,
movie Fresh.
everybody should know the movie Fresh. Come on now, that's a
You
cult
little Rosie?
classic. I was little Rosie.
Oh,
Yes,
okay, I got
I
you.
took the bullet in the neck.
Oh, no, that's right. Oh, that's cold right there. But
Dog,
you
like I was
survived.
like,
Look, you
come on, but
survived.
I'm
And you
here.
still here. Tell us about
I'm
it, though.
still
Tell us
here.
about that time. How
Yes.
was that for you? How was that experience for you as a child?
You know what? I didn't realize how impactful that film was going to be in the Black community. I had no idea the significance. You know,
Yeah.
I was 11 years old when I did the movie. Pretty much, I just wanted to go to camp and play with my friends. I had no idea like what I was about to be a part of, and so I was a part of this program, Big Brother Big Sister, and it's for disadvantaged youth. My parents worked hard, but they couldn't always do everything with me and my siblings. So they put us in this program so that it would afford us more opportunity to kind of expand our perspective in terms of the worldview. And so I was a part of this program and they had these auditions. And my mother was like, oh my God, this kid was born for the screen, right? So
Yeah.
take her to the audition. So they took me. I beat out a bunch of other girls. It was probably about 100 and something girls. And they was like, okay, we want her. And again, I'm still not realizing my life is about to change, right? I'm getting ready to be on a big screen. Like it hasn't hit me. And so I'm going to the rehearsals and I'm going to the set and we're filming. And the film was released in 1994. I remember going through school. Everybody was like, oh my God, like that's the shorty from the movie. I remember
Oh,
her. She got shot in the neck. That's her, right? And I'm like, again, still not really understanding the significance of this. And so I'm just thinking it was cool, gave me money for college. I'm not really like sweating it. And then I want to say probably around 2010, 2011, when I really started to see the movie and how people were applying, you know, parts of the movie to their lives and, parts of the film and
yeah,
how it
yeah.
impacted them as people. I was like, yo, like this film really was dope. And so I sat down and watched it. Like, cause to be in it, you seeing it from a different perspective, but to actually watch the magic and to watch,
Yeah,
the
the
movie and the
power of it.
story,
Yeah,
it was
in each
crazy.
character. Yeah. Yeah, you had a
It was
significant
crazy.
role in that. You had people in tears. This wasn't
And
like just an ordinary scrub on the side. What you call it? Just a stand-in or an extra.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So your
Listen, I
role was
gave y'all
pretty
my
dope.
best stuff. Okay. I gave y'all my best on that on that
Yeah.
basketball court. I took that bullet like a champ. Yes.
So then
But
you leave the movie set. Now you a boss at school, or you just touting your power, or what how did you work that?
yeah, so you know what? It's so crazy. Real quick though, shout out to Sean Nelson, the star of the film. I'm
Yeah,
still in touch with him, still a dope dude. He went on to do many things, whereas I chose to kind of focus on education. I come from a family that many of my parents, starting with my parents, my siblings, a lot of them didn't even finish high school. And so education was really important to me. I kind of took on that mantle and said, you know what? I do have dreams and ambitions. I would love to be an actress. I would love to sing and dance, but I really need to show my family and myself that education is a priority, and not necessarily from an institutionalization or socialization standpoint, but just getting as much information as possible, right? A lot of people
yeah,
think that, oh, she subscribes to what the world says is important, that having that piece of paper makes you somebody. No, I don't agree with that. I think that we are born somebody, and those things just help to validate who we already are. And so
yeah,
that's why education was big for me. And I went on to school. I put myself through school with the money that I made from the movie, and then I went on to grad school, and now I'm working on another degree that I'll be finished by December, my second master's. And I thought I was going to be done with school because, my family called me professional student. But with the current climate, and the whole, I should say, not the whole, but the continued injustices against our people, I was like, yo, I got to go back to school once more. I'm going to go ahead and get this law degree so that I can support those who cannot speak for themselves in the courtroom.
yeah.
So so school's not over. I thought I was done. I thought this was going to be it,
Hey,
but
we all can learn, right? We all can continue to
yeah,
learn. If you're not continue to learn and push yourself, then you may just, not be moving at all. But and
absolutely.
if I'm not mistaken, that led you
Mhm.
into your blog and into your podcast called Hearsay, correct? Tell us
Absolutely.
about
Yep. It's
Hearsay.
called Hersey.
Hearsay,
Yep. It's called
Hearsay,
Hersey. Yep. No,
Hearsay.
but
Get
no,
it right.
but that's exactly where it came from. The play on words. came from the phrase hearsay. And the reason I started hearsay is because, again, I wanted to speak for the voiceless. I wanted to speak for those who were not bold enough to speak up for themselves. My podcast, we talk about all different topics and subjects. Nothing's off limits.
Hmm.
We're allowed to say whatever we want. My guests can come on and say whatever we want. Some of our profane and vulgar language is offensive to some people, and I will, alert them in advance. Look, this is explicit. You might not want to tune in. But I don't believe in filtering or censoring people. Let them say what's on their heart, because in my opinion, the truth is what we're not getting enough of, right? We're
Yeah.
getting all this watered down, discounted, and discredited narrative. We need to hear things in the truest and most sincere form, because I think that's where change will really happen. And let's just keep it real. The world sucks right now. Not just because of COVID, not just because of systemic racism, not just because of, you know, underprivileged and disadvantaged, societies. Excuse me, my children in the
I hear the
background. But
babies in the background.
yeah, they just came in from outside. But not just because of those things, but so many things, that we need to address. And
Hmm.
so that's what my podcast kind of focuses on. We talk a little bit about all of the full spectrum, like
Yeah.
everything from, dating and relationships, divorce, things that I've been through, all the way to things that I haven't yet experienced that my guests have been
Yeah.
through. So
Now
yeah.
you're in DC at this moment, and so how did
Yeah.
you guys deal with the protest there and being on lockdown and all of that? And I'm sure that on your podcast that you discuss this with young ladies who are quarantined or going through quarantine at this time.
Yeah, you know what? It was tough. Like, I'll first start with, the marches and the protests that we had in DC. I think the toughest thing was trying to get my children to understand why they had to be a part of this. My daughters, I have an 11-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they just couldn't understand what the crowds were about and the emotion
Yeah.
and, the drive and the ambition for me to be out there with them, and why I didn't mind risking having my kids out there knowing how dangerous the situation was. And the reason I chose to take them with me is because it's one thing to teach them about it and show them through other people's actions, and it's
Yeah.
another to let them live your dreams with you.
Yeah. And
It was a
feel it.
dream of mine to be out there, right? To make a difference on the front lines instead of tweeting about it and, talking about it on social media. I wanted to live it. And so that's why I took my kids with me. And I'm telling you, I was scared the whole time. I
Yeah.
was scared the entire time. I didn't have time to take pictures or make videos or Snapchat, because it was literally survival, looking over your shoulder, making sure your children are
Yeah.
still by your side, making sure no one's, running and trampling them. So I missed the opportunity to participate in the social part of it, but I was glad to be out there. I felt proud to,
Yeah.
to be out there with, yeah.
And I know it's a
So,
lot of weight. We carry a lot of weight, a lot of stress from not only
mhm,
from the pandemic, but just coming out of the George Floyd and the movement that we had, and everyone that
yeah.
protests and all the things that we do on a normal basis. It's just kind of
Hmm.
weighing us down because you see, I don't know if you heard that Tamar Braxton was rushed to the ER last
Hmm.
night for it looks as if she may have committed or tried to commit. Sorry, she tried to
Yeah.
commit suicide,
Hmm.
and Nick Cannon also is going through some
Hmm.
issues dealing with apologizing for saying what some deemed as racist
Hmm.
statements, and
Hmm.
so and he was, I guess, his words were a little tough for others to hear. Like, you can have this planet, you can have this world, I'm out. And that's,
Hmm.
so it's already a lot of weight on us. And then from
Yeah.
the day to day. Yeah. So how would you, like, on your podcast, when you discuss, do you guys discuss suicide? You discuss things like this? How do you
Hmm.
uh, kind of help someone in that situation? What would you say to them? That
Wow. The first thing I definitely want to let people know is, I've been there. I think when we tell people our own experiences and we're honest and transparent, because folks will look at our life and say, she's so put together, she's done so many great things, or she's achieved so much. There's no way that she has a dark day. There's no way that she's ever questioned her own existence and her own purpose. And so I think when we start with that kind of connecting human to human,
yeah,
saying,
because they
listen,
don't think celebrities have
they don't,
dark days. We're like, y'all got
they
money,
don't.
y'all fame,
Right.
right? We want to be
Hmm.
you. So obviously, you living good,
Right. Exactly. They don't realize that they're human first, right? That
right?
they deal with the same insecurities, the same struggles, the same shortcomings and flaws that we do. If not, theirs are heightened because they're public. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like you said, people forgot quickly that Nick Cannon has been on the front lines of all of these marches, not just for George Floyd, but those before this, other tragedies
Yeah.
where, Black lives were taken at the hands of law enforcement or other, situations. He's been there. They forget that he's the one who finished the documentary that Dr. Sebi started. Like we quickly discount and diminish what people have done. We focused on their incident in that moment and forgetting again that he's human. So
Yeah.
to him, navigating the relationships that he does in Hollywood, navigating the relationships that he does in corporate America, and all the things that he has to
And
take
with
on his shoulders,
millions of dollars on the line.
millions of dollars on the line. He
Millions
thought
of
an
dollars on the
apology
line.
was the best response.
Right.
And our ability to immediately attack him 24 hours after praising him. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
Like we were just praising him 24 hours ago, and now we're tearing him
fickle.
down.
Human love is so fickle
Yep.
and frail.
It's so
Can
fickle.
love you one moment, hate you the next. All right.
It's conditional.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's conditional. If you do what I want you to do and you be who I want you to be, then I will love you. But the minute you're no longer who I want or you're no longer serving me, there's no need for me to still love you. And that's literally the message that we keep sending celebrities and we send each other. So like you said, even with Tamar, I don't know her situation. I did watch a couple of seasons of the Braxtons. I'm not big on TV, especially not reality TV. But I saw her pain seasons ago. You can see.
Yeah, you could see it. It was, to me, it was. Let me ask now. Do you think it was a sibling rivalry type of pain, where she will never be as quite as good or quite as loved as her sister?
You know what? That's a good question, man. I think she struggled with that quite a bit, and I think that's why she kind of propelled herself as the more famous sister at one point, and she was doing like the word that my daughter likes to call being extra.
Yes.
For
her song, her album was horrible.
Exactly.
So, I'm just sorry, Tamar. You could do better, but I wish you all the best. Hope that you get well. I'm not trying to kick you when you're down, but yeah, it wasn't the best.
Exactly. And I think she was doing that in a hopes to become as popular, if not more popular than her sister, because Tony's much more reserved. She's much more to herself. You know what I'm saying? She's classy in a whole different level. And I think she did struggle with that. And then also her divorce was public.
Yeah.
Her new relationship was public. One thing I always say, a lot of people quote Coco Chanel and say when a woman cuts her hair, she's about to change her life. I say the complete opposite. I believe when women chop their hair like that, it's a cry for help. Me personally.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. When I was in a marriage that I was extremely unhappy in, I felt stifled. I felt like my life was not my own. I chopped my hair off, and I had a lot of hair. If you go back to my 90s pictures, I had a lot of hair. And I chopped it all off as a sign, like a cry for help, like somebody help me. Like I don't feel like myself, so I no longer want to look like myself. So I'm taking this hair off. And I believe that that's what that meant to me. That's what I interpreted that as. She called it liberation and freedom.
Yeah.
But if that was really the case, then why were you still feeling the way that you felt? If you watch some of the episodes.
And then
so
you grew it back.
You grew it back.
She grew it back.
Right.
So it's like, what did that really do for you? But I can understand.
Yeah.
So
but my heart definitely goes out to her and her family. My prayers are with them because I struggle and fold under the pressure of life as a person, as a regular everyday female. I cannot imagine what it's like having that added pressure of celebrity. And like you say, COVID is not helping. It's the social distancing has been more damaging than it has been good, right? I get it.
Yeah.
Stay 6 feet apart or more. Don't, gather in crowds. But we forget what we've had to forsake and what we've had to forfeit in terms of just natural human interaction. It is natural to hug someone.
Yeah.
It is natural, you know what I mean, for us to respond to someone in need with a hug or rub to the shoulder. We can't do any of that. So can you imagine going through something major and your loved ones can't even come over and be with you? She has a lot of siblings.
Yeah, especially when you were I think it's even more, it may be even more tougher for them because they're in the spotlight most of the time, and they make their money off engaging the people, engaging with the people, engaging in crowds and this and that.
And touring and exactly.
So now all that is shut down. And obviously there's a huge money piece that adds to the emotional piece, but there is also, you also are drawn from that right? You're drawing energy from these people. You're drawing love
Mhm.
and all these other things from everyone. So when you get put in a position where you're not getting it, it can be a little tough. Yeah.
Right.
So
And even think about from the validation standpoint, right? You touring and your ability to entertain and make people feel good and make them smile, like you said, that connection. If you're not getting that and that part of you is not being fed, you do start to feel like you're dying, especially if that's your lifeline. If
yeah.
entertainment is your lifeline and it's been cut off because of COVID, what then do you supplement? What do you replace it with? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's something I think about when you think about the celebrities who tour, not just from a money aspect, right? Hopefully they did right and they got some coins, they safe, but just from that interaction. Because I know me, if I couldn't read books and I couldn't, help people match their careers to, to their, or excuse me, match their purpose to their passion and their profession,
Hmm.
I wouldn't know what I would be able to do. I would feel lost, and I
Now,
feel like that's where she got.
what was the last book that you read? Last good book that you read?
Oh my God, the book I just finished, Vibrate Higher Daily. Oh, listen,
Vibrate
tell your
Higher
listeners to
Daily.
go and get it. Vibrate Higher Daily.
Vibrate Higher
The
Daily.
best book I've probably read in like the last
Did you
decade.
like
The
that?
bestest book.
Did you like that more than You're a Badass? I love that particular book.
I loved it more than that book. I loved it pretty much more than every book I've read in the
Um,
last decade.
Vibrate Higher Daily.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to check that out. I have to check that out. But I am.
Oh my gosh. When you get it, just send me some thank you flowers or edible
Well, I'm
arrangements.
gonna
And I
send
like
you some
fruit.
anyway. I'm gonna send you some anyway
Just
for coming on to the show. All right, we have to get you here in person, or at least get you,
yes.
yeah,
Absolutely.
get you here. Once you can come to Houston, you can come on to the show in person. I think they might quarantine you now. Well, you know what,
I'm down.
Houston, we won't quarantine you. Come here now. When you go back home and tell them you went to Houston, they more than
They're
likely
gonna make me
they're
quarantine.
gonna
Ain't
make
they?
you quarantine. But down here, we just, like we getting it where we can. Like we ain't gonna worry about it. So they're speaking of shutting down. I know the mayor wanted to shut down the city, but the governor
Mm,
said no. So we just kind
mm.
of, traffic is heavy. It's almost business. It is business as usual here in
Yeah,
Houston, except for
wow.
the schools. So are you?
How do you like yeah, I was gonna say, like, how do you tell people you can't do things anymore? To me, that's not quarantine, right?
Right.
I think quarantine is you're infected, you're sick, you have to stay home, but the rest of the world should be able to move as they choose.
Well, I
You
think the
know,
the issue is that those who may be positive. Now, I think that
mm,
if you get tested and you're
mm,
negative, you can move, right? But if
mm,
you
mm,
haven't been tested and you don't know, you shouldn't. And obviously, if you have and you're positive, you shouldn't move. That's how I
right.
think it should go. But who's
Okay.
going to regulate and who's going to check to see who's been tested and
Right.
who's not? So there's some
Right.
responsibility as citizens that we have to do for each
Hmm.
other, right? As a community of
Hmm.
one, the nation of one, to
Hmm.
protect each other and make sure we're doing right. Now, are your babies school age or are they still small?
They are both school age.
Are
And I'm still indecisive if I want to allow them to go back to brick and mortar learning or if I'm going to keep them home for virtual or distance learning. I'm still up in the air about that.
yeah, yeah. I think that's going to be a challenge because I just don't see how a teacher can navigate that classroom,
Right.
in elementary. I don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I can see little Bobby taking someone's mask and all this other stuff just
Oh yeah,
going on. Yeah,
or the kids who are going to come without the mask, the kids who are going to come to school without it.
yeah, on a daily basis, and that's going to be at least a 20-minute start delay in class starting right there. If someone doesn't have the mask, and it can get to all other we're going to expel you type of situations. You never know. So, but I would like to thank you, Miss Natina Sheree. Martina, I said your name so wrong. Lord, forgive me.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm just chopped that right now. What's wrong? You know what? You got me nervous, first of all, and then you were messing with me the entire time before we went on air. All right.
I was.
Yes. So then the New York and you straight gangster. So that really put me back. But when can we when the COVID is over, we need
Hmm.
to have you in Houston for sure,
Yes, I would
right?
love to. Yes, I would love to.
And
I
tell
love
us where
Houston.
can we find you? Let everyone know where we can find you on social media. What
Yes,
platforms
definitely
for you?
follow me on Instagram, Natima underscore Sheree. Same on